Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're tackling Jane Austen,
Always a good time.
Northanger Abbey, to be
A
exact.
classic.
And you know the drill. We're all about that opening line, seeing if it hooks us, or maybe just hints at what's to come.
Right from the start.
So let's hear it. This is the first line of Northanger Abbey. No one who had ever seen Catherine Morland in her infancy would have supposed her born to be a heroine. I don't know about you, but when I first read that, it wasn't exactly love at first sight. It's not the most dramatic opening, right?
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't exactly scream epic adventure.
But maybe that's the point.
Oh, absolutely. Austen's playing with our expectations here. She's setting us up for something different.
Something a little more subtle, maybe? Like the source material mentioned that Austen often used her characters to examine ideas about humble beginnings and how you don't need some grand backstory to become extraordinary.
Totally. Catherine's just an ordinary girl, at least at the start. But Austen was really good at finding the extraordinary in the everyday.
Which, now that you mention it, kind of reflects her own life, right?
Totally.
So maybe this simple opening line about Catherine not being hero material as a baby is actually hinting at a much bigger idea.
I think so.
Like the source talked about growth and perception and how those things are woven through Austen's work. Do you think that's what she's getting at here?
I definitely think it's in there. Right away, she's making us think about how we judge people, how first impressions, even of a baby, can be totally wrong.
And how people change and grow over time.
Yeah.
Especially young women, which is kind of Austen's bread and butter, right?
Exactly. This line kind of sets up Catherine's whole journey. She's going to learn, she's going to stumble, and she's going to become the heroine of her own story, even if she didn't start out that way.
It's also really interesting, and the source pointed this out too, how self-aware Austen's writing is. I mean, it's almost like she's in on the joke.
You know what I mean?
Like, with this line, she's winking at us, the readers, who are familiar with all those typical Gothic novels and their over-the-top heroines.
Oh, for sure. She's acknowledging the tropes, but she's also twisting them, making fun of them a bit.
So, to recap, what do we have here? We've got Austen subverting expectations, hinting at character growth, and maybe even throwing in a little satire for good measure.
Yeah.
All in one sentence. But is it enough to truly hook us? Is this a line that makes us desperate to read on?
You know, for me, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not in a gasp, what happens next kind of way, but it definitely makes me curious. I want to see how Catherine defies those early judgments. And knowing Austen, the journey's going to be full of wit and sharp social commentary.
Which, let's face it, is what we love about her.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you have it, folks, another opening line dissected. But before we go, I got to ask, what about you? When you think about this idea of first impressions being misleading, how does that apply to Northanger Abbey? Not just to the characters, but to the whole novel itself. Think about that as you dive into Austen's world. And hey, maybe revisit that opening line once you've finished the book. See if it hits differently. Until next time, happy reading.